What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back with another video, and today we're going to be looking at some NHL trade rumors from Spectris Hockey for October 8th, 2019. So we're not going to waste any more time. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe for more hockey content. I cover every NHL team and its daily content. So let's get going here. So the link is also down below in my description if you want to read this as well. So this is the first piece is coming from the Winnipeg Free Press. Mike McIntyre expressed concern over the battered Jets defense so far this season, who they have given up 14 goals over their first 3 games of the season. Clearly not what Jets fans were expecting with a team as good as they are. Regardless of some of the, subtractions that they've had, they're still an absolutely amazing team. Dustin Byfuglien also not being there doesn't help. So apparently there's not a bunch that they can do right now to address the issue. A money in, money out trade seems to be the only tangible option at this point, says McIntyre, because if you look at the Winnipeg Jets cap situation, if Byfuglien comes back, then obviously you're going to work around that and you're going to be fine, because then that's another addition to your team, and a good one. Dustin Byfuglien is a very talented guy on that back end who can put up points. He can hit, if he needs to fight, he could, but I'm guessing, if I'm giving my opinion, if he's out this long, I don't believe that he'll be coming back. And by this long, I mean, it is kind of long considering the season started already. He didn't go to camp, and it seems like what we've heard so far that he doesn't want to come back. But again, that's just all rumors. But the Jets are, kind of struggling to figure out what they could do, because like it says here, it would have to be a money in, money out trade, which means probably somebody significant would have to go out to get somebody in if you're really trying to acquire an asset that will help your blue line immediately. So the Jets are using defensemen such as Ville Heinola. No disrespect, I've never heard of that guy before. I'm sure he's much better than a dude filming a video in his basement. Carl Dahlstrom, and they will probably turn to Sami Niku as well, who is a prospect in their system, or a prospect, however you want to look at it. I believe he's not exactly that young, but Sami Niku is a guy that's been pretty, I guess, talked about in the Jets system for a bit now. So he'll make his season debut tonight after recovering from a groin injury, and this of course being on October 8th. So this is when he'll make his debut. So if you're watching this at a later date, then he's probably already played. Now, from the Athletic, they're looking at possible trade options like Buffalo's Rasmus Ristolainen, which we've heard a ton about, and Dallas's Julius Honka. Ristolainen has a lot of game experience. Of course, we know he's a guy that can put up some points too, but he comes in with a $5.4 million AAV, so that's something that the Jets have to look at. He would probably cost them a little bit more to acquire too than Honka, and apparently this is coming from the Athletic as well. They're really saying that the 5-on-5 play doesn't really appeal to both of those guys. They're for at least Ristolainen's case, he doesn't really appeal to the Jets on a 5-on-5 type of situation. So that's clearly not very good, because that's where the game is played most of the time. But Honka would be more affordable, and that's what I was going to get at. Like, the asking price so far apparently for Honka has been a couple draft picks or like a prospect. So maybe that's an option that they go with, but again, the money in, money out situation, like they're going to have to clear out some cap space. So this is just something that they're going to have to look at, and I think that the Jets will eventually be fine, and especially if Byfuglien comes back, but maybe there is a move to be made there. Now, this is coming from the Ottawa Sun, because there was a trade. Nemestikov, I always end up saying his name wrong, but he's pretty talented and yet to really prove what he's capable of. The Ottawa Sun is kind of trying to figure out where he'll play in the Ottawa Senators lineup. Of course, this was a trade with the New York Rangers. They're saying that if Nemestikov ends up moving to center, then the Ottawa Senators' center depth will be a lot different, and there could be a second move coming. Because if you look at their current centers, Colin White, Pajot, Tierney, and Nisimov. So maybe they have to make an additional move. I think that Nemestikov will end up on the wing, but if they do make a move here and they like the way that Nemestikov plays, then maybe it makes sense to ship somebody out for a draft pick, or maybe a project or a prospect, something that they can work with, because the Senators, of course, are in a rebuild. And honestly, I like this addition for them. They didn't have to give up too much, And we'll have to see what happens there. But I'm actually very impressed with the move that they made, because if you can acquire pieces that teams are not using or believe that are, past a project or past where they should be in their development, some teams will take that player, work on their problems, see what their strengths are, and then build the player as they go. And the Ottawa Senators can afford to do that right now, because they need to. They need to find guys that can fill out that roster over time and help this core build, so that way they can be competitive in years to come. So I think that it's a smart move. Now, this is just something quick on the Toronto Maple Leafs. From the Toronto Star, Dave Feschuk wonders if the Maple Leafs goaltending backup situation, the backup goaltending situation, will be a concern. So I mentioned in my review of the game, the 6-5 game, of course, the terrible, comeback that happened there. Michael Hutchinson shouldn't be to blame for that game. There was a couple goals that maybe he would want back, but at the same time, you can't expect a goaltender to be perfect every night. And I thought that Hutchinson played really well in the first couple periods, and then the team collapsed and left them there hung out to dry. And Mike Babcock reiterated the same thing. It's like, how do you expect this guy to stop everything when you guys are just collapsing? It doesn't make any sense to blame a goaltender on something like that. But they're wondering if the Leafs' backup goaltending situation is finished and they're okay with Hutchinson being there. Now, again, much like the Winnipeg Jets, this is a money in, money out situation for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They are literally saving dollars on the cap. They have to, they're scraping their nickel and dimes to make sure that they can have a roster out there that's not going over the salary cap. They've got an amazing team, we know, but they're really nickel and diming everything right now, because they have to. They have to make moves via waivers, call-ups, whatever. They have to be very careful. So if they make a move and Hutchinson's moved out or put on waivers or whatever they do, eventually, again, if they wanted to fix this situation, I don't think that this is a conversation we should be having after one game played by the backup goaltender. But if that's a move that they figure they have to make at some point, I know a lot of people want to see Joseph Woll come up, but he's not ready. They need to give him time in the AHL. People seen him for a couple periods in the preseason, and some announcer called him, he looks like Carey Price in goal, the calm composure that he has. Let's not do that. Let's let this guy develop. Let's let him be the first Joseph Woll and let him develop the way he should be developing. You're not just going to throw him to the wolves. I know some teams can do that with guys like Carter Hart and whatever. They're bigger, goalie prospects if you look at the full thing, and Hart had a little bit more experience. But Woll, to me, isn't an option. They need to give him some time. And Neuwirth didn't work out, and I think that they have to give Hutchinson some time. And if it clearly doesn't work out over the next 2 or 3 starts, the Leafs can't afford to lose too many games. But after one, you can't really be blaming the goaltender too much, especially when he was pretty good through the first 2 periods. So I think that this is just too early to be talking about another move happening. But if a good goalie comes through waivers, there have been some goalies that have gone through waivers already this year, like Deming, that people are saying the Leafs should go after. Eventually, they could through a trade. They could end up making a move, because a lot of these guys are down in the minors now. So there could be a move coming, but again, that's down the line. I can't see it happening now. So those are some NHL trade rumors the NHL rumor mill from Spectors Hockey for October 8th, 2019. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe. I'd love to have more hockey conversations with you. Join the squad. Let's get to 7,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you as always, and I'll see you in the next video or stream. Peace.